Good morning, this is Jeff at the Marshall Fredericks Sculpture Museum. We are doing a series of what we like to call museum hacks, and they're little in-depth tours with some personal insight about sculptures of Marshall Fredericks. So let's dive right into today's victim is Friendly Frog. First of all, I have a question for you. What is the difference between frogs and toads? Well, according to the University of Michigan Department of Zoology, there's really no scientific distinction between the two, but there are a few differences. Frogs mostly live in water, and toads tend to be on land, but they have to be, relatively close to water. Frogs have teeth and toads do not. That's probably why we play with toads a lot more than we do frogs. Frogs tend to be overall larger than toads, and frogs have smooth skin, and toads, we all know, have that bumpy skin that we think we can get warts from, but in reality, we cannot. So what's the story about this sculpture? Well, in the 1960s, Marshall Fredericks had thought about creating this piece for a shopping mall, and he did, and it ended up being at the Hudson's wing of the Genesee Valley Shopping Mall in Flint, where it remained for 16 years. In 1986, the mall donated the sculpture to the Children's Museum in Flint, and the museum itself moved, and when they did that, the new location for the Children's Museum, the floors would not hold the 6,600-pound weight of the marble and concrete frog. So they had to put it into storage. And for quite a few years, it was in storage at a place called C&S Motors on Dort Highway, which was a trucking company. And there it was stored until about 2004, when the Flint Journal wrote an article talking about the lonely frog and how the artist would croak if it could see the friendly frog today in storage. And so that started the ball rolling, and then the Ruth Mott Foundation at Applewood Estates came to the rescue, and they bought the frog from the trucking company for $35,000 and placed it at the 30-acre Applewood Estate where it resides today. He's very, very happy. He has his own lily pad, and kids can play on him when Applewood Estates is open. Time for a little lesson in frog anatomy, and Marshall Fredericks showed this very, very distinctly. What do you suppose this little circle is on the side of a frog's head? Well, if you said it's the tympanic membrane, you are correct, and it is the eardrum for frogs that transmits sound vibrations to a frog's brain. The only anatomy I ever knew about frogs was what I did in high school when we had to dissect these little creatures, and that was not a lot of fun. The frog was designed to be a slide, and if you look at it, you can tell, wow, what a great slide. You can slide down his back, and it was a marble, so it was a very slippery surface. But I can tell you a personal story about this. When I was a kid, I grew up outside of Frankenmuth, and we used to go to Genesee Valley Mall, and we used to play on this. And I can tell you that, yes, it was a great slide, but with a design flaw. When you came off this back little ramp and you hit these back legs, it hurt your butt quite a bit, but we still got up and we did it again and again and again and again. So, and finally, one thing I would like to say that I think is really interesting, we're kind of looking at it right now from a far off point of view, but there was once upon a time a docent that worked for the museum that said that Fredericks was influenced by the smile of the Mona Lisa for creating the smile on the frog. What do you think about that? Do you believe it? Something to think about. Next time you're in the museum, be sure to stop and visit the Friendly Frog. Thank you and have a wonderful day.